second chance in the game.
Hi, I'm Drew Nystrom, offensive coordinator and offensive line coach at the University of Dubuque. Just wanted to get a chance to talk to you here today. One of the things I'm going to cover is just our zone progression drill, and that's an everyday drill that we use here at the University of Dubuque. There's a couple different things that we do for it. We do this to work on all of the different blocks, or the main blocks, maybe 90% of the run blocks that we do in a game. We try to execute in this one zone progression drill that we do here for you. And so the objective behind the drill is to create an understanding of the proper helmet and hand placement, driving force into the ground and engaging the core to drive through a defender in one-on-one blocking situations. And obviously it carries over to some zone combination blocking situations as well. For us, the equipment needed isn't a lot. Hand shields are optional. And the one thing that we do, and you'll get a chance to see it on the video, is I put down the blocking tees that we do here, and I stole this from one of the coaches I worked for at the University of Memphis in my time down there as a graduate assistant in 2010, and I've carried that over to what I do here since I've been here. So just kind of jump right into it. I'm not big on introductions, so like I said, the main blocks that we execute with this drill here. We do a tight zone 2, which in the parentheses you'll see there is a tip-to-tip aiming point. One of the biggest changes that we made here at the University of Dubuque in the last year or 2 seasons is I no longer give the players an upper body aiming point in terms of any of our blocking schemes. If it's pass protection or run game, we don't talk anything above the waist. And the reason for that is I think you end up getting a little bit of leaning, or I've gone back and watched film and I've seen a face mask to an aiming point that we had given before, but the hips aren't in proper position and we don't make the block effectively. So we've made that change to go to purely lower body aiming points. And so when you see tip to tip, that's the tip of the groin of the offensive lineman to the tip of the groin of the defender. Then we work in outside zone 2, which is play side outside zone, and we're trying to get the tip of our groin to the play side hip of the defender there, and we feel if we can get to that aiming point, we're going to make the block a good percentage amount of the time. And then we'll work our backside cutoff, which for us, this is if you're on the backside of a pin and pull, if you're on the backside of zone, any type of zone, it's going to be a very similar block. So our aiming point is going to be tip to the play side hip, but obviously you're working this block out of a different stance. If you're a right guard, you're going to be working a right-handed stance, working to the left on the backside cutoff. And then we work our down block that we utilize in our pin and pull schemes, which we say is going to be tipped to the near hip. So you'll get a chance to see some of these blocks as we go forward. We're going to get a chance to watch some of our indie from the past, and we'll get a chance to, there's some good clips in it, and there's some bad clips in it as well. Have some center work and some guards going as well, and we'll get a chance to show you just the different things that we do moving forward from that. So I'm going to kind of get a chance to jump right into it after we talk about the coach points. The coach points, I'll leave that up there for a few seconds here, so if you want, you can pause the video and get a chance to read those, but you'll get a chance to hear some of those coaching points as I go through the drill and see actual reps of just some of the things that we're looking to do and looking to get out of the drill. And so you can kind of tweak this to what you're looking for. But the biggest thing we try to do is vary the defender's alignment from week to week based off of what the opponent does. If they play with tighter 5 techniques, there's no sense in repping that week against a loose 5 if that's not what you're going to see on game days. Obviously in the spring it's going to be a little bit different. You can vary some things up. But we try to focus on some of those things and work as we move forward. So hopefully you can, if you need to look at this anymore, you can pause it and take a second to read it, but I'm going to jump right into the drill. So the very first thing that we're going to do here is we're going to work our tight zone 2, and so we're at the play side of attack, and the first guy you see here, number 72, he's actually a center. So they're working a little bit of a different scheme on some of the things. They don't have as many varieties of blocks for us. But his main thing is he's trying to work tip to tip, and when you can see, if you get a chance to take a look at these, I just made these blocking tees out of PVC piping. The biggest thing we want to do is in order to execute this block, we want to make sure he's going to drive as much force as possible into the ground through his left leg and left foot into the ground. I follow LaCharles Bentley and what he does, and I've incorporated a lot of that to what we do. And I want to make sure that first step gets over the pipe and gets a nice lateral step. I don't want him to attack the defender, because in my opinion that's going to take away any type of leverage, or that's going to take away any type of angles that you're going to be able to create to threaten the outside shoulder of the defender. So I want to step lateral over the pipe, and then his second step, so his first step I wanted to land right about here, and then he's going to attack the far foot of the defender on a lateral step. His second step, ideally, he wants to bring it to the near foot of the defender and then get it over the other part of the pipe. So he's going to step and hopefully get his second step somewhere in that area. I don't want to see him cross too far, but every person is going to be a little bit different. But we're going to step far foot, near foot, and we're going to step over the PVC pipe, because to me, that kind of gives our guys a visual on how to step for width, as opposed to stepping underneath themselves, which I think a ton of guys at the high school and college level do, and really the pros do it as well. Kind of allows them to hopefully break that habit. And then if we step far foot, near foot, then we're going to end up tip to tip on the defender and be in a good position to really end up being in a position to make the block. So as we let this run here a little bit, going to get a chance, we'll let it run full speed. You can get a chance to see his first step attacks the far foot of the defender. Hopefully he brings his second step down. It's a little bit long on this one, but he gets it down fast enough to where, but as you can see, as his first three steps get down, I want his third step to emulate, be very similar to his first step. He's now tip to tip with the defender. In my opinion, he's going to be able to completely own the block in an inside zone here. So he's tip to tip with the defender. He's square. We're giving the running back a two-way go, which is what we're looking for in all of our zones. The next guy up is going to be working out of a right guard stance. He's got the same aiming point. It's going to be tip to tip with the defender, working far foot, near foot. He comes off, does a nice job right there. Obviously his feet are a little bit slower than the centers. He's a little younger, needs to establish a little bit more power as he's going on. Next man up, same situation. And we rep this every single day. And as you go forward, one of the things I do want to see differently out of this gentleman here is when he steps, I want to see that whole cleat on the ground. As you look at his right foot right now, he's a little bit up on his toe. I want to see the entire interior cleats on the ground, and maybe at about a 45-degree angle, so he's got a little bit more power to transition back up the field. But again, to me, the biggest thing is getting to that tip-to-tip aiming point, because if you can get there, you're going to give yourself that running back a two-way go and be able to finish the block and be more effective as you're going. So thought he did a great job here. The last guy up, again, this is a young freshman, does a great job with his footwork as well. When we're in drill segments, he does a great job with his footwork. When we get into live situations, it's a little bit of a different situation for him as well. So, but that's how we utilize and work our inside zone or our tight zone action if you're on the play side. So if you're a guard blocking a 3 technique or a tackle blocking a 5 technique, and we've got our inside zone running right behind you, this is how we want them to execute this block. So as we move forward, the next thing that we go on to, this is just another gentleman finishing up the inside zone. The next thing we work to is now we want to work and progress to the next block that we have, and that is we're going to work to the outside zone. Okay, we're play side of an outside zone right here. This is a center who's got to block a loose shade, or it's a guard who's got to block a 3 technique, or a tackle who's got to block a 5 technique on the play side of our outside zone. And what we tell them is we want them, their aiming point is they have to get to the play side hip. They've got to get the tip of their groin to the play side hip of the defender using footwork to get them there, which is typically they want to take maybe a little bit more depth on their first step on this one again. They want to drop it a little bit, step to the far foot of the defender, and now we want their second step to come all the way through the crotch of the defender. And if they take their far foot crotch footwork, they should end up to where the tip of their groin's on the play side hip of the defender, and we're in great position to execute that block. We'll get a chance to watch our center again, taking a couple reps here. You can see he gets a little bit more depth on his first step again, driving, getting that second step down. Again, I utilize these tees to help me decide whether or not he's taking good footwork. But if you look and see, there's the crotch of the defender right there. If you draw a line straight through it, he ends up landing right on that line, and he ends up finishing again, want the third step to emulate the first, but he's to the play side hip of the defender, and he's going to be in a position more oftentimes than not to execute that block by taking that footwork and getting to his aiming point of the play side hip. Right guard coming up again. Not too bad. He's a little bit long, if you look, a little long with his second step. Okay, comes a little bit too far. He's got to get that down a little bit sooner. But he's a young guy starting to figure it out. Okay, again, the biggest thing we're still in 3 steps, we want to be to that play side hip. Okay, and we're doing a nice job of far foot through the crotch, getting to that play side hip and running it. And you can see you can get a ton of reps on this, rapid fire with it, but we got aiming points. This young gentleman here, he looks a little bit short here on his second step. You can see that's a little bit more like his inside zone to the near foot, and he's not quite to his aiming point. Hopefully I stop him and make him go again. Okay, come back again. Driving off that backside leg, comes a little bit longer with this second step. There it is, and now he's in a better position to get to the play side hip of his block right there. Okay, the next block that we do, we're going to transition to a backside cutoff drill. So now you're a right guard, and you've got to reach a 2-eye on the backside of a outside zone or inside zone play to your left. You're a backside tackle, you got to reach a 3 technique. What you can see here from the center position, he's just going to get another rep of utilizing outside zone to him. He's just going to try to get to the play side hip because for him, he's never really on the backside of any of our zone plays. So as we come forward again, same aiming points on the backside cutoff now. Because we want to get to the play side hip, we're going to step far foot through the crotch with our footwork, and that should get the tip of our groin to the play side hip of the defender. Again, right now we're considering the play is going to the left, and so we are trying to drive off our right leg, get to the play side hip to the left, and go moving forward. Okay, again, he's a little bit, maybe a little short on his second step, but you can see he's straining. First step looks like his third. That's something that's been a major point of emphasis for us. We've been a little bit off with our third step lately. Okay, as you get a chance to watch this one here, you can see from the last one, he's way too long on his second step. Okay, great first step. He's driving off his right leg, gets to the far foot of the defender. His second step comes way too long. Okay, he's way past the crotch of the defender. He comes way too long. He's gonna lose the block every single time. Okay, come back, try it again with him. Now he's a little bit shorter on that second step. He's in a lot more powerful position. He could get his third step down a little bit quicker, but now he's in a better position to get to that play side hip. Okay, next, the third guy up again. That's really good footwork right there. Far foot, down to the crotch, down as fast as you can, and now you can see his groin is right on the play side hip of the defender in this situation, which we feel here that if you can do that on a consistent basis, you're going to be able to execute your block pretty darn consistently. Okay, next guy comes up a little bit short, but you can see as these guys are going through, some of them get a little bit better than others, but there's a lot of good things that they're doing, a lot of poor things that they're doing that you can go ahead and correct. So those are the first 3 blocks that we use in zone progression each and every single day. The next one that will come up now is going to be the down block. For the guards and the tackles, this is a down block in any of our pin and pull schemes where you're going to put the guard down on a 2-eye, and then a center pulls around to get to the outside, or a tackle down on a 3 technique and the guard pulls around to the outside. That's what we're utilizing for guards and tackles. But with centers, this is actually the same footwork and technique that we would do for any type of back block in power or gap or anything along those lines. So what we teach them here is we want to tell them to get the tip of their groin to the near hip. Okay, so now you're not trying to get across the defender's body. You're just trying to get to that near hip. The way we teach them here is to take that first step to the crotch of the defender, okay, to stop the upfield penetration because that's the worst case scenario, to the crotch of the defender, and then bring your second step and bring it up the field to the near foot of the defender to cross to take away any type of cross face. So what you're going to see here, hopefully, is you're going to see a step to the crotch, to the near foot, and getting your tip on the near hip as we're going for it. So again, this is a center working a back block, which is going to be no different than for us a guard working a down block or a tackle working a down block on a 3 technique. So you'll take a quicker step, get it to the crotch of the defender, and then he should be coming with his second step up the field, quick, get it down on the ground on the near hip of the defender, taking away anything up the field. So we tell him again, you want to take away penetration to crossface on any type of back block or any type of down block is what we're looking to do. So you can see his footwork's going to be a little bit shorter. Hey, young guy comes up again. Good first step, but then he's not going anywhere with his second step, not driving through the defender at all. He's a little bit wide with his footwork. What we teach here, I don't want our guys to have anything much larger than a shoulder width apart in terms of the base, because I want them driving through in the defenders and putting pressure on the defenders. Again, we come back with him. Great first step. Second step's a little bit better, a little long, a little slow. He's a young freshman. He's slowly starting to get it. Come back with another veteran. He's a little bit long now. You can see, and this is the down block, he's losing the 3 technique to the play side. So we come back, we'll do it again, shorten that second step down. That's better. Okay, you can get a chance to see that right there. Okay, he steps to the far foot of the crotch of the defender, down, second step to the near foot, his tip's on the near hip. He should dominate that block as we get going forward through it. Okay, again, come back to it. Young freshman figuring it out, get the feet down. It doesn't have to be a dominating block, but you got to make sure that you're on that aiming point and you maintain your aiming point as you're going through the entire deal. So, and then as we come back forward through it, I'll just kind of let this run as we're going through it. But now, so we've gone through that entire progression has been if you are a right tackle, right guard, or a center. So we've worked tight zone 2, outside zone 2, backside cutoff, and then a down block from our right-handed stances, and then we'll come back through and do it again from our left-handed stances. And I'll get a chance. Obviously, centers are going to get a little bit more work on zone 2, tight zone, and outside zone to them because they don't have all those different variations from their stances. But we get a chance to go through this every single day. This is something we do in season, out of season. This is something that we do, and I have those guys doing it through the off season on their own, try to coach them up. Again, the biggest thing we talk about as they're going through this whole deal is get to your aiming point, right? Are you tip to tip? Are you tip to play side hip? What is your aiming point? And make sure you're getting there as you go along with it, because especially here at our level, we don't get our kids a lot. And to me, it's for them to understand this drill and the same coaching points as I said today as we're going through it with me is the better off they can understand that, the less I can talk about, in terms of 6-inch step or 3-inch step. To me, the biggest thing is get to the aiming point. Get your tip to the play side hip, get your tip to tip, and they can carry that through in the summer and move forward as and take that when we don't get a chance to have them throughout the entire season. So, but that right there is our zone progression. Again, you can get a chance to take that. We work it every single day. The offensive line, it's one of the positions where obviously, in order to get great at it, you have to practice the same things over and over and over again. It's not a fun position to play in terms of a lot of different drills, but as long as we can master the little things and master the small things as we move forward in the limited drills that we do, if we can become really, really good at this drill, it's going to be able to have an extreme carryover onto the field. So we do this every single day. Would love to have you come by campus at some point in time. If you have any more questions, feel free to contact me at dnystrom@dbq.edu, and that's DNYSTROM@dbq.edu. We'd love to have you come by. If you have any questions about anything at all, feel free to email me at any point in time. We'd love to get you any information for you. So thanks again, and I appreciate this, and hopefully you take something out of this for you today.